incredible evenings in the history of the White House. We had an evening last night with the fighters, and I was very happy. I called last night, very late last night, to congratulate you, because in the heavyweight division, a French fighter won. I don't know, is that maybe more important than the World Cup? To some people it might be.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Donald Trump's White House UFC spectacle backfired as it somehow managed to get even uglier after the fights ended. Because this event, right, it was already being criticised as unnecessary, type of thing someone would do when he needs a distraction. Already accused of turning America's 250th anniversary into another event to just inflate Trump's ego. Only for a fighter to then stand in front of the president and millions of people and berate the former First Lady.
And lastly, Michelle Obama is a man. Am I right, America? Ladies and gentlemen.
There was one moment I do think Trump has to denounce, and anybody associated with it has to denounce, and that's that crazy fighter guy. I don't even have his name up here, but he won the fight. He took the microphone and he made a derogatory comment about Michelle Obama. To me, that on the White House lawn. Now, these are UFC guys, all right? They're crazy. They're idiots. You have Sean Strickland, who's one of the craziest people of all time, to the point you can't even pay attention to what he says snuck in. But when you have that on the White House lawn, on an event you put down, I don't care what you think about the Obamas or anything. That has to be an immediate denounce. Like, wrong, doesn't speak for me. I have no problem with the event. I guess you run that risk because these guys are lunatics, but that was the only thing. If Trump should denounce it, he should say that was totally wrong. The event itself, listen, the troops seem to love it. All the people there seem to love it. I have no problem with it. I think you're crying over spilled milk if you are upset about the actual event. But that comment, if you're going to do it, own it and be like, we don't, that was wrong and should never happen.
The guy won his fight, right? But he thought instead of celebrating the biggest moment of his career, this loser used his post-fight moment to make a disgraceful comment about Michelle Obama. In fact, he said this after thanking his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. It's indicative of how hate-filled these people of faith really are. You know, the ones that have Christ first in their bio and then spend every waking moment disparaging people who are different than that. And what did the president say in response? Well, nothing. In fact, after the veil remark, he welcomed the fighter, putting a medallion around his neck, with the White House communications advisor then capturing the incident and posting it on Instagram.
And lastly, Michelle Obama is a man. Am I right, America? Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Hogan.
So as Hogan wraps up his interview, walks away, you can see the president there on the other side of the ring. He can be seen sort of half smiling as there's a mixture of cheers and boos. And when CNN asked about Hogan's comment, the White House refused to directly address the question. The UFC is commenting, though. CEO and President Dana White called it nasty and false and dismissed it as nonsense.
And this comes after many had called into question the event itself and why it was happening. A GOP strategist said the quiet part out loud, that it's all a spectacle to project the idea that Trump is popular even within his own base. She said that even MAGA supporters are being turned off by how Trump is ringing in America's 250th birthday. But the thing is, as I've said in many previous videos on this matter, especially after the response to him showing up at Madison Square Garden outside of his MAGA bubble,
We need a sweep tonight, and then we're going to sweep that motherfucker right out of the White House.
This event was always going to be a way to inflate Trump's ego, and insulting the former First Lady in front of the world is just par for the course when it comes to the type of people that Trump embraces. Frankly, the fact that this took place on the White House lawn, right? This remark coming from someone in front of this office that was once so revered, it just further degrades it, right? It just turns this venue that was a national monument into another Trump campaign rally venue. It's no longer a national institution, but a content studio for MAGA to spew hate and bigotry, all in some desperate attempt to distract from what is really happening in the country, where you have inflation out of control, gas prices still soaring as Trump ends this war for his 350th time, the economy tanking, and yes, key voters turning on the president ahead of the midterms. He's not backing away from this either in trying to focus his attention on what matters, which is helping make life more affordable for people. He's doubling down. Reuters actually reported that Trump is now framing the July 4th National Mall celebration as, quote, most spectacular Trump rally of all. Despite the fact that countless performers and celebrity figures already skipped this event after realizing how closely it was tied to Trump, he continues to lead with more spectacle over any sort of substance.
But as far as the I'm gonna economics major. I love studying politics on the political side of things, not the UFC's business. That is, of course, they're going to say yes to it. But what I think personally is that our government is desecrating its role in society by entertaining sports. Our government is to protect and serve the people, and really should be as minimal as possible. And when you're doing all of this stuff, hosting sporting events, it's really outside of what the goal of the government was intended to be, because our tax dollars and resources are funding this operation. And like I said, I'm not criticizing the UFC. I love Dana. I love Hunter. I love Sean, Mick. I love all of them. And it's an amazing thing. It's a once in a lifetime thing. But the government should never be hosting sporting events, because there's more room for corruption, and we already have a corrupted government. And so that's my thoughts on it, is that the government is supposed to protect us, not entertain us.
We just put on these big smokescreen events headlined by absolute imbeciles like this. And the core problem is that it wasn't a celebration, right? A celebration is when it seems like people are happy to embrace each other. A World Cup, that's a celebration that embraces all people of different backgrounds and actually celebrates our differences, highlighting the fact that we always, when we pay attention, have more in common with each other. Even that event, despite Trump's best efforts, he can't ruin it. I was there firsthand, I'll tell you. This was always a means to divide, to separate and lead with that hatred. This is why the event flopped. It reveals that patriotism becomes grievance in Trump's hands. It revealed that even a national anniversary can be converted into a Trump campaign environment. It reveals when you invite this kind of politics onto the White House lawn, the result isn't dignity. It's a fighter using a presidential celebration to insult the former First Lady. That's the image here, and man, is it ugly.
Of warmth, of a job, an economy, a community, a family. And for too long, you saw Democrats who were telling these coal miners that they should just learn the code. And what we saw during the Biden administration at the EPA, for example, was regulation after regulation after regulation trying to strangulate out of existence